Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Radiant Black podcast, a show about Radiant Black and everything Massiveverse, a series and superhero universe created by Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa. I'm your host, Bashar, and I'm joined by my friends and my fellow co-hosts, Firefly / Ali, Charlie, and Matt. Today, we've got some special guests. As you can see, we've got Kyle Higgins, writer, creator of the Massiveverse, writer of Radiant Black, and Cal, and several other things, of course, as you already know. Matt Groom, co-creator and writer of Inferno Go Red. Melissa Flores, co-creator and writer of The Dead Lucky. Michael Busuttil, editor. Supreme, just like knowledge
Supreme.
being.
Wow.
Just, ahead of everything in terms of the Massiveverse, keeping everything together. Just incredible stuff, and the designs on the trades, I guess you do those too as well, right? Everyone knows how great those are. So
you passed Ultra, you passed Mega, you went right for Supreme.
What did you,
Michael? That's the best designation I've heard on a podcast of Michael yet.
Wow,
awesome. And Ryan Parrott, of course, a co-creator of Rogue Sun and writer of Rogue Sun. And we haven't seen each other in a long time, Ryan. I feel like it's been ages, really.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan is writer supreme. I think.
I was actually hoping
he's the only writer supreme here, I guess.
If Supreme wasn't, if Supreme wasn't already a 90s
Supreme's another guy
character, Ryan would write Supreme into Rogue Sun.
I was
also
everybody's name and just go and Ryan.
Congratulations on the launch of the Rogue Sun podcast. I saw that today.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's a fun one.
Thank you guys.
Very
flattering and awesome.
Very excited to talk Rogue Sun. Man, holy shit, the covers that came out today, Solicits for the newest issues of the Massiveverse comic books. We didn't get a Dead Lucky issue. Michael told us the reason why. It's being solicited for later. But we saw the covers for.
What was the reason?
I think that's
we'll
what
talk about it later. We had, just to tell people, like a little production shift. So an issue that was already solicited is now out in August. So you have the solicit for that month's issue already, and you'll have the next one next month. It's truly boring stuff.
But you guys saw that Time Falcon cover, right? Like, oh my god, I love that name. That's like something that we're all gonna say from now on all the time. But and then Morningstar on the other cover, of course, Radiant Black. We got the two covers, Marcelo and. So one thing that's so cool is that we have an art duo of Marcelo and Eduardo, and then we have a writing duo of Joe and Kyle. So it's like,
yes. So the covers are all Marcelo so far. Okay. That might change, but for now it's been Marcelo doing each as a connecting image.
Yeah. Just while we're talking about those, you go, Kyle.
Oh, I was just going to say, my whole thing behind it, too, is like, I like when an event feels like an event. And so we felt like, as we moved away from ratio covers, that the Catalyst War, where every month you could basically have an interlocking, like, big widescreen poster image, like, that's a really cool thing to have for the 6-part event, to have 6 of those, And so originally I wanted Eduardo and Marcelo to do each one together, but then the logistics and scheduling of it made it so it's that's actually trickier than you would think. So but that we're at some point we're gonna have them jam on one together, I would imagine.
Yeah,
awesome.
I just want to say Marcelo's connecting cover for 27 is the best one yet. We did it last week.
Oh,
it rules.
Yeah, it's real good. Yeah.
And the ornate cover for Rogue Sun that you guys just saw is Holly Renee's first ever comics work, I believe.
Oh wow.
Awesome. It rules. I think you are going to see her all over the place very soon.
Awesome. Okay. That's awesome to know for sure. I personally want to know, like, starting off, like, this big event's kind of coming, like you guys are getting ready for it. It's the second one, obviously. Was it easier this time around going into it? Did you learn anything? Or, because obviously we know you started a bit earlier, but what was the process like this one compared to the last Supermassive?
We learned nothing.
I would say that this one was harder. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with the fact, I mean, you can see it in where everyone's status quo is. Think about trying to write this when we started writing this, which our first story kind of sessions were in August of last year. We hadn't written all of the lead up to where these characters are currently in Supermassive 2023, as well as, issue 6 of Dead Lucky, issue 12 of Rogue Sun, issue 24 of Radiant Black. So it was challenging to figure out, and sometimes there were some storytelling decisions and characters that we had to firm up and we were finding. And so finding the right vehicle for this type of story was, I think, like probably that was an early hurdle, like the biggest hurdle early on. And then once we found it, it became this really nice organic build as where everyone's character was at. There was we found a way to build an arc for everybody, so that it's additive to where their main series story is at. And once we found that, then everything else is like, then you can start building on top of that.
Yeah, like the first Supermassive was, it had to fit into the ongoing train of Radiant Black. And then it had to also start the Rogue Sun train and connect to an Inferno Girl Red train and like warn you about a Dead Lucky train, right? This one had 4 ongoing trains moving at different speeds that it had to weave directly through the center of without breaking any of them. Like, I think we started talking about this issue before Ryan had written a word of Caleb dialogue in Rogue Sun, the regular book.
Yeah, I was. Can I cuss on this one? Yeah, I was an asshole on this project. I'm gonna be honest, because I didn't want to commit to anything. I was like, they're like, "Where's your character gonna be?" I don't even know if there's gonna be a character. Like, it just like I didn't want to commit to anything, and it was just like you had to figure it out, and it was hard, man. Like it was very, very difficult. Yeah, it was very much a retro. Like I was like, oh wait, how did we write him in this? Okay, let's go and write his introduction now, which is a completely backwards way of doing things, but yeah, it's fun.
Well, you nailed it. I feel like it doesn't feel like this is like a crossover that has to happen, which is like one of the biggest cruxes of comic books is like it feels like your run stops, but I feel like these weaved in perfectly. Even like the themes just really fit. We are going to go into full spoilers of this. This is coming out after. Hopefully you picked up your copy on whatever Wednesday's what is it, May 24th?
17, 24.
24th.
Wow, I was right. I haven't felt like that way before. But yeah, that was great. Dina Kulo, of course, did the art for this, which we haven't even mentioned. So how did you guys manage to talk him into this?
I sent a lot of text messages telling Daniele he had to do this. No, Daniele and I are very close. We go back to, well, all of us to Power Ranger days. And Daniele drew my issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers during Shattered Grid. And so it just felt we'd been trying to find the right thing to do together in the Massiveverse for a little while. There was a brief moment where Daniele was going to draw issue 18 of Radiant Black. And then actually Daniele, we were originally talking to Daniele about drawing Supermassive last year, but the schedule wouldn't, it was very early on. The schedule wasn't going to work. Obviously, Daniele co-created Shift with me, and he drew the lead story of the 4-issue serial. But when it came time to do this again, like it was obvious, like that's first call. Like, Daniele, are you available? When could you be available? How early would you need script? All of those conversations. We had those for a period of a couple months, really. And then it all came together and it just all came together. So
Ben, the reason we wanted to do full spoilers, I don't want to take Bash's question, but I think we all thought of this. Like nothing really hit me in a comic book quite like the Wellness Wallace thing. Like I don't know. Like I feel like he's anti-drugs, but I feel like drugs were involved in his creation. Not calling out anybody here, but no, I love that. That was as mind blowing as it wanted to be. I don't. Hopefully Disney's nice because it did look a lot like Max Rebar, which Rebo for the Rebo band. But I love that. How much? I'm actually going to steal Bash's question right now. I don't want to. Bash, you had a question about Rogue Sun and what happens with the fears. Like what's like the fear?
Yeah,
What is it?
yeah. So like in the first Supermassive, we got this like premonition-y thing where they all got to see some sort of component or some sort of like vision. And we have something kind of similar here, but not exactly the same, where they're in the trials, and in one of the trials they all get to see their fears. But Rogue Sun, oops, sorry, I keep shaking. Rogue Sun, he's just like, I'm feeling cold all of a sudden, and then he's falling. So my question is, well, I have two questions about Rogue Sun. First, my first question is that Rogue Sun's fear is that he's being sucked back into the stone, or what's exactly going on there? Because I was not like sure. And then the second one is Caleb like, is he being serious when he says the person that died at the beginning of the story is his ancestor, or was that actually him? So those are my two questions. Yeah.
Question one, he's afraid of drowning, so that was water. But I like your answer better, so I'm going to use that from now on. That's better. I like that. Really, it's a smarter. Should be writing the book and not me.
Can we call you for Supermassive next year? Ryan, is that your...
Here you go. What do you think? And then the answer to two, no, I think the idea was that he never explained. Like, the idea was that Caleb would never let them know that he was not Dylan. So he's saying that that's how Caleb died, but Caleb's pretending to be Dylan, so he has to say that that's how my ancestor died.
So, but that is in fact how Caleb's did like die.
Yeah.
So that was when we saw what we saw in the opening of 2022 Supermassive. That was Caleb's death in his original life.
Unless I come up with something awesome to change it to, yeah.
So I was correct. Okay, that's awesome.
No,
okay,
there's no retconning. There's no.
No,
well, I guess
that makes it better.
No retcons in the Massiveverse. That's Editor Supreme rules.
No, that's better. I'm glad. That makes it much better. Okay, thank you.
Well, I think it's a rule. All Rogue Suns have to die in the exact same pose. That's the thing.
I was just about to say it looks exactly like how
everybody
Marcus
goes down
died,
like
too.
Jesus.
I think one thing you guys. I mean, it's fine. One thing you guys did that was really impressive was, I think Matt already touched upon this. Everyone, including Tomasin, the new character, Matt Groom, I'm assuming, introduced and was handling this entire issue, which is incredible. I really love that addition. We'll get more into that as the issue progresses, because there's big surprises with Tomasin throughout the entire issue. But
hold on, Matt only got incredible. Michael got supreme.
Hey, man.
Hey, some things are
I'll work
true,
my way
Kyle.
up by next year, maybe the year after.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to put it out there for the record.
All right. Okay, but anyway, all things being equal here, I want one thing is you guys did like written amazing. Oh, sorry, let me start over. The writing was incredible because you had amazing justifications for all the characters being involved for the chase of the Holy Grail. One thing I really loved was Dead Lucky's rationale for being involved. First of all, holy shit, that costume upgrade. First, like, you guys gonna just like subtly sprinkle that into Supermassive, like. Amazing stuff right there. Loved it. It's really cool. I don't know if that's just like the Morrow uniform official. That's just how she looks now, but really cool. Subtle upgrade there. I loved her justification for being involved because, again, spoilers, big time. As we've seen at the end of the Dead Lucky arc, like Eddie obviously sacrificed himself, and her justification for being involved is like she wants to use the Grail to bring Eddie back to life. And there's a bit of that, like, in terms of everyone has their own reason. So I really liked everyone's reasoning, but I especially resonated with BB's because I thought that really she brings that emotional core from her own book up to this one. And then I really like how she hits on on Tomasin. So, yeah.
I think actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think that's when we decided Eddie would die, right? In like one of these calls we were planning Supermassive, and we were trying to figure out, again, we were trying to figure out how to make the motivations work. And we knew at the end of Dead Lucky that she was going to lose someone, because I felt that the issue 6, at the end of Lucky issue 6, that she was going to lose someone. I didn't want it to be Eddie because I was really attached to the character. But it just, the more we talked about it, in order to close that arc out the way we wanted it to, and also set her up for Supermassive, it felt right that it would be Eddie. And I think it actually kind of hurt me when we decided it, but I think it was actually with all these guys in a Zoom that like it was just like, what if we kill Eddie? And then it just made sense. And you know, it brought a different dynamic. Like now it's changing the arc. Like changed the, you know, arcs issues 7 through 12 in a different way, in a really cool way. Like brings Georgia up a little more, who's Eddie's ex, and it allows us to play a different kind of game with Morrow, and which is always really fun because now BB has toys, lots and lots of toys that are Morrow sponsored, and that was really fun. That Special Forces outfit that was from Daniele. I literally just said BB's in like some sort of like army special, and I put like some sort of tactical like reference suit in like the script for him to reference, and he was just like, no thanks, and like did this like incredible suit.
That won't
And
be the last time we see it.
And we're like, we have to use this again. It's
Yeah.
freaking cool. So that was all him doing his magic.
That's the best part about being a comic book writer is you can write in and give me a brand new tactical suit, and then you don't have to do any more work. And it's like, good luck, artist.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that you guys did very well was beyond the justifications. We got a really good reason for everyone being involved, but also towards the end, we got a really good like evolution for, you know, their journey beyond the Supermassive 2023 and how they're going to take those changes into their respective titles. I think that's really exciting for, in a way that's great because it's great for the people who've been reading everything, like forever, you know, they get that in addition to everything. And then it's great for the newer readers who are like, okay, this is what I have to look forward to as well. And it sets up something cool. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And then I think Ali had a question.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the big misdirect, I guess, from this issue. So the moment the covers got revealed, a lot of us were kind of disappointed that Inferno Go Red wasn't going to be in this issue. And but Matt, we were still happy to see that Matt was still, you know, on the writing team. And you know, from some of the interviews that I've read, you said you were writing the new Tomasin character. So like, okay, maybe she's the villain that's in charge of her. So how did that come to be? Was that also like an idea from the beginning? And is that actually the first Inferno Go Red to kind of go with the first Rogue Sun?
Yeah, well, I think this was one of the earliest pieces in play, and it really just came down from the fact that the timeline of the last Supermassive relative to Cassia is already like pretty far ahead of things, and we didn't want to like keep making that gap bigger and bigger and bigger. So we knew that involving Cassia at this point without getting more of her story in her own title was probably going to be a little difficult. But we, in the early conversations, were talking about the fact that we were going to be dealing with this Rogue Sun from a long, long time ago. And I knew, because of the sort of like world building and things that I figured out, that the lineage of Inferno Go Red was both like incredibly long and also multiversal. So it became pretty natural pretty quickly to go like, oh, well, it can just be one of the early ones. What if this Inferno Go Red knew this Rogue Sun? And like that was a pretty foundational element from early on. But then I think also like we like to surprise, and like there's meant to be like big events, right? Like we like to have a big thing. And there is another big thing that we'll probably talk about a little bit later, that came together a little later in the piece. So for a little while, like this is one of the big things. And I was certainly happy to, you know, take on that role of like pretending that there's no Inferno Go Red involvement, so that could be the one of the surprises for the issue.
I don't think you ever actually lied. I think you said Cassie is not.
I said
the whole time,
a lot of times.
Yeah. And it also meant that we could have or seemingly have a villain for the issue, and have that feel real and earned, and then sort of like subvert that at the end. As it for being the first Inferno Go Red, not the first one in this instance, but certainly the first one was seen by a pretty big margin thus far.
So definitely the earliest. Okay. But earliest that we've seen at least. But let me tell you, it made the reading experience a lot better because like I was on the video with these guys still reading it, and like you could hear me go, oh shit, like it was a really good
You know
moment,
those
especially
moments.
not expecting it at all. So whatever misdirect or not lying that happened, it worked.
So we like to hear.
Chef's kiss for sure. Going a little back to the incredible art here. Really, we had a new colorist on this one. Did an incredible job.
Yeah.
How strict was, obviously we heard Melissa, she could just say tactical suit and you have this beautiful creation. I love that panel you guys shared on World's Finest True Believers of the piggyback ride, kind of Marshall riding Nathan along. That was just beautiful. But how much of a guideline did you have to give him versus how much freedom did he kind of have drawing this thing?
I mean, I think Kyle hit like Daniele drew Shattered Grid with Kyle. Did he do 12 issues of Power Rangers with you, Ryan? More than that?
Maybe more.
Something like that. Melissa was involved behind the scenes on all of those. Matt and I have been sort of spontaneously involved in conversations about all of that. I think like I would give Daniele as long a leash as he wants. Like we basically sent him the script and said, go for it.
Yeah.
And we were specific when we
there were
thought specificity, like, you know, to tie into parts of the books, like to make references go. But largely, like, I don't know that we had many notes.
No, I think I had a section where we did a double page spread, and I think I just said, go crazy, Daniele. That was literally the direction. And then we just gave him references to, like, you know, obviously what BB suit looks like or what Kane looks like, but like even like Kane's eyes, which are revealed for the first time to be bionetic.
Yeah.
That was him. I just said her eyes are you know, she's got implants for eyes, and he got to design what that looked like. So
well, I should also mention though that the medieval Inferno Girl Red and Tomasin was designed by Erica Dierso.
Oh, nice.
And Caleb, well, you never see Caleb, but the medieval Rogue Sun armor is designed by Abel.
Yeah, anything that's like is from one of those books and belongs to one of those books was designed by the artist who co-created that series, as I think, you know, we would like to do in as many opportunities as possible. But yeah, I think Melissa, it's like there's a double page spread where they are surrounded by demons, and the script says like they're surrounded by demons, and you know, like you expect like, oh, he's gonna do a bunch of them in silhouette, or he'll draw like sort of a dozen different ones and copy paste them, and like I don't expect him to draw a page full of them surrounded by demons. And then he sent in the layout, and it was like, I think he's going to draw them surrounded by demons. And then he sent in the inks, and it's like, oh, he just drew a page of them. Okay, well, cool. Love it. Anytime in LA. Anytime you want, my guy.
That's awesome. Kind of. I do want to skip this far because this was the biggest kind of the thing I was wondering. I know. Obviously, got this guy on my wall here, Mr. Spawn. Kind of going back to that last page, we get that reveal of medieval Spawn. I know how big of a fan Ryan is personally of Spawn, so kind of going through my head. I'm not a Spawn guy, so I was excited for Ryan always at this point. So what did that mean to you to kind of get that in a page with your character, you know, or not in the page, but like in the same book, you know?
Book? I mean, Kyle like sent me the text message. Where were we when you got the text message that we could do it?
We got final. Yeah, we were at WonderCon. We were at that. We were doing that panel.
Yeah, I think we're all like right as we were sitting down to do the panel. Yeah, that's right. I remember I was like, we got to keep the stuff chill now. We got to tell everybody. But yeah, I just thought this was so cool because we didn't know. Okay, this might be breaking the rules here. I don't think we knew we were going to be able to do that until very late in the game. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, I think
I already said it. So
yeah,
and had plans for it, but
it was something we had plans for a long way back. And I can. Who one of you was with me in San Diego? Who was with me? Matt was with me. So I met Todd for the first time in San Diego, like just randomly on the show floor. and we said hi. And then I told him I was like, we do this thing, and and he was like, sure, but I don't think it's a convention floor. You don't know what someone remembers, so I didn't take it as a yes officially or anything like that. But it was something then that as it got closer, it was like, okay, like let's reach out, and we wanted to wait till we had most of the book done to show like, this is what we're doing, this is what it looks like, and this is what we are intending with this. And so yeah, he thought it was cool, and we even got, I don't know if you all know this or not, because it happened pretty quick and late in the game, but we got the official Medieval Spawn font for Medieval Spawn there. That's what he's using in that balloon.
I just love that it made my cover, the Rogue Sun cover with Medieval Spawn and everything, way more interesting now.
Yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say, was that after, like, that cover? Did you know that was gonna happen before you wrote Medieval Spawn? No.
Well, I think those covers were before it was official, but after we'd been talking about it. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's about right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was another part of the conversation, like, because the Dead Lucky had a really awesome Spawn cover as well, and that was part of the conversation, which was like, well, can we do a combo? Can we do a Dead Lucky as a Spawn? And it was like, go for it, So that was a good one. And then we had Radiant Pink, to which now the only thing my girlfriend knows about Spawn is when she asked me and I said, loves chains, hates selfies. And that is not useful in any context when it was an inside joke for the cover we did for Radiant Pink. But sorry, Infernal Girl Red didn't get a cool Spawn cover, Matt. Maybe next time.
We missed it by like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they got to be friends. No. Technically.
Was that also Nicola's design for that, for the Black Infernal Girl, like Tomasin's design? Because that was like with the black visor and everything. That was was Erica's.
That's Erica.
Okay, so she did the actual character and the costume and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. We've got design sheets that I'm sure we will find somewhere to put, whether it's online or in a trade down the line or something. They're very cool, and like, she nailed that design first or second pass. Basically, it was like, here it is, and it was like, yep, there she is.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I had a question for Melissa. Is like, I found BB, she was on, we were talking about this earlier, she was almost she always takes command in these situations. Like kind of like going through these trials, she just has a good mind. She's very calm in these very high stress situations. So kind of, was she like meant to be a leader? Is that kind of just like her?
Yeah, that was intentional. Specifically, I mean, the way we wrote it, like, especially my pages, like, there were the pages I wrote specifically were like, BB takes charge because she's the one that knows combat strategy. So like, she's the one that would naturally be the one that like leads them through this. But her, like, it was always meant to bring her combat experience and her captain officer experience to the role, just because I think of all of them except for like maybe Tomasin and Rogue Sun, she's the one that actually has combat military experience when it comes to this kind of stuff, so it just made sense naturally. But the way BB was written by the other guys, they just did a great job with BB, so I can't really speak to how they wrote their pages, but I mean, I literally had no notes. they all like seemed to get her and did a great job with her, so I could not complain.
Okay, Kyle, I've waited long enough. Now let's ask some Radiant Black questions. First of all, that last page for Radiant Black 24, I'm still recovering from that. Like, that was hard, man. That was hard. It took a long time for some of us to make a decision. So
I can see the vote count go up every day.
I
Very
haven't made a
fascinating.
decision.
Yeah,
You don't have to tell us who you voted for, but did anyone vote here? I think Ryan said he voted, but did anyone put
voted.
in a vote? Nice.
I'm still waiting to vote, but I know who. I mean, I've never wavered. I'm always Team Nathan.
I didn't realize we were
I-
allowed to.
That's
I
fair.
thought it'd be
Voted for Dylan.
like
He's gonna take
you
over
know,
both
you're not
of us
allowed
now.
to get enter competitions that you have like a legal involvement with.
Now you can vote, Matt.
I will say I put in a bunch of test votes as I was building it, and so I didn't have a vote. So I waited. I was vote 1,000. I waited to be
Nice.
at a good number.
That's how you've done Primo.
I have not voted yet.
Oh,
Haven't
wow.
you?
You're waiting, or
not.
you're not gonna vote?
I don't know.
You gonna see how close it is?
I mean, it's real interesting to watch people discuss and vote on two different book directions.
sure.
And that's been a really interesting experience because I know what happens.
Sure.
And you know, I know what meaning like I know what everyone's story
Sure.
would be. And so it's cool. It's a good time. I'm glad I was pleasantly surprised by how much discussion people were having about which of the two they should vote for, and that really was the intention. But you know, I didn't know if that would happen. There's a reason why we're doing this at the 2-year point. You know, like everything we've done has been building to this, and everything we've done with the characters, you know, in every issue has been to make this choice really hard.
Okay. That's cool.
So it's cool to see it finally start to play out.
Was it always your intention to put it in the reader's hands?
Yeah.
Always the intention.
For a real long time. You
Like-
pitched this to me a long time ago.
He's been talking about it this like over a year. Like I remember
For
way
years.
back in the day he was talking about it.
Yeah. I pitched this to Eric Stevenson at Image. And I had already had it pretty fully developed for some time before this, but I pitched it to him over 2 years ago.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that everybody who's voting is actually voting on Kyle's mental health. So there's violence, people. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it is real fun to see how people feel about different aspects of my personality. It's great. No.
I will say, like, it started to widen just a little now.
Don't give
been-
any tip
I've been
off.
shocked at how close it has been the whole time. Like
Yeah.
it has not been a landslide. It really could go either way still.
That's cool.
Well, I think
What
that
was-
that's good to
that speaks to the amazing way these characters have been developed because Marshall
yeah.
and Nathan are so different, right? But they bring such different things to the table that you have people that feel equally passionate about both of them.
Yeah.
Because it speaks to different parts of who their characters like. There's a reason why I love Nathan over Marshall in terms of who should be Radiant Black. Not that I don't love Marshall.
No, I know why. Because you spent most of your career managing a bunch of marshals.
I didn't want to say that. But
You managed all the actors, you managed creators, you managed talent, like you managed producers, like
oh my god, I sent a diva text to somebody to an editor like yesterday, and I'm like, oh my god, have I turned? Have I become?
you became
Dark side.
you George Lucas the other way.
And then I immediately apologized. And I was like, it's okay.
Well, let me ask you all, what was your experience getting to the final page and putting 2 and 2 together that the QR code and the vote was the direction that this was heading?
So I actually told the story in one of the older episodes. I was reading this issue Wednesday night in bed with a little blacklight flashlight, you know, like going page by page.
As we do,
And-
sure. That's how I wrote it.
Surely. The way he set up that story was awesome. He's in bed with his black light. He had his radiant black. We're like, okay, buddy.
As God intended.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
and I just see like the last page of the bot looking at you, and I see the QR code, and I'm just like saying out loud, I'm like, no way, this is happening right now. So I brought my phone, I took it, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this right now. I need to go to bed because it was like 12 p.m. at that, almost midnight. And I'm still struggling with it. Like some days I feel like I want to vote Marshall, some days I feel like I want to vote Nathan because I love them both for different reasons, and Radiant Black specifically means a lot to me because it's what brought me back into like reading comics. I don't want to say full time, but on a regular basis. So it's still very difficult for me. I'm probably gonna wait till the last day, as I do with all other important decisions in my life. So, yeah, I'm still in the middle, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movie Swing Vote? You know, the movie where they had like the one with Kevin Costner. He's like, you got the choice. Watch, you're gonna be the one. It's gonna be a tie. We're gonna have to come to you to find out how it all changes.
No, it was super cool. Like it was super unexpected for me. Even seeing the QR code, I was like, what? Like I didn't believe it at the time, kind of. But then I opened up the website, and it was just and kind of going over it the past couple weeks. And I'm sure it's gonna like feel like this even in the future. It just like it's almost like we're kind of a part of history now. Like when this story kind of transitions, it's like, okay, yeah, we were there to make this decision. So yeah, it was awesome. I love that. I love that you decided to do that, and yeah, just bravo.
No, I hope everyone makes the right decision.
I was gonna say that too.
Is there a right decision?
I don't need any more stress, please.
I mean, Michael officially announced in the Image press release that the loser gets beaten to death by the Joker with a crowbar. So.
Don't blame me, blame DC Comics. They made the rules.
It's going to be a much harder licensing deal to get than Spawn, I think.
There's the one thing you said on Discord, Michael, where the person who doesn't get the Radiant survives for at least like 10 more minutes, and like just that alone gets me thinking even more. Because
but hold on, 10 more minutes doesn't mean 10 more pages. You have to also keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's true.
It was only because some people were starting to sort of project out, like, you know, if Nathan gets the Radiant, that means Marshall will immediately collapse to the floor from a brain aneurysm. And it's like,
hold on. That might actually happen, but not...
It might happen, but that's not what we're asking you to vote on. Right. So I don't, like, what you're voting on is who will be Radiant Black. Anything beyond that is out of your control.
Okay, sure. So just setting the record straight. All right.
That's awesome.
And reading the issue was great, right? Like, sorry if you want to say something. It was just getting to the last page. I was in denial, to be honest with you. At first, I thought I kept telling myself, I hope it's merch, but I knew what it was, right? Like, we really
you always hope for some merch.
Yeah, the little glimmer of hope, right? I was Marshall in front of the train, like, let it be merch. But then I saw, I don't know, man, it was tough.
You must decide on one of these comfortable T-shirts.
I can do something with crowbar.
I had an impulse at first, like on who to vote. I did vote. I'm not gonna say who I voted for. I already did. I voted for Marshall, but I do really like both characters a lot. It was hard. It was very hard. And I just look, man. Whatever you do, just don't kill Orson. Okay, like whatever you do with those guys, just don't kill Orson. Like leave him out of this. All right, that's all.
I assume Marshall in the next arc is going to be moving in with the Burnett's if Nathan doesn't get it, and he'll be eating the oatmeal with the raisins. But it like as the character of Nathan, like as a writer nearing his 30s and stuff like that, like he's actually impacted my life like greatly, and to the point that I'm considering Marshall. Like it shows the strength of this, where I'm voting between like a character I'm so attached to. So, you know, it was really tough. I don't know if I'm going to say how I voted for. You can probably predict how I'm going to vote. But yeah, it was a really tough decision, which is the sign of two great candidates I wish I could vote for in real life or something. But yeah, I know it was really well done.
Yeah, for sure.
Marshall should not be president. I want to be really... Maybe he could be Radiant Black.
Yeah,
He should not be in charge of, like, government.
I think we can all agree on that. I hope we can all agree on that, for sure. Oh, that's awesome. And
I was showing my girlfriend BoJack Horseman last night, and I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I haven't seen the pilot in a very long time. But there are some brilliant jokes in the pilot with Mr. Peanut Butter, and all I could think of is like, that's so Marshall. And Mr. Peanut Butter should not be president either. That's the moral of the story.
Neither should Bojack too, but yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask real quick. We have, I think it's the 29th is the last day to vote, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll look it up. 1 second.
It's like 2 weeks from today.
So, do you guys have any plans of maybe putting up like a tally of the voting, or are you just gonna keep it all?
You gotta read the story, man. Okay. Gotta read the story.
So that was the cover I had. A question I had. So two questions.
Yeah.
The first is the person who's gonna be Radiant Black is gonna be revealed after Catalyst War. That's question A. And then question B is, are you guys gonna do like presenting your new Radiant Black? It's gonna be on the cover. Like, is that how it's gonna be, or is it gonna be like?
Question B, no, that's not. We're not doing that. Question A, you just have to. It's a
good question.
It's a very good question. Read the book. You have to read the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna know from the cover or the solicit. You're gonna literally have to find out when you get the book in your hand.
Well, you've seen the covers.
Okay.
For 25.
Okay.
So it's not. No, there's not going to be anything. There's not going to be like a shout burst introducing all new Radiant Black.
You should do what Shadowhawk did. Remember? I don't know if you guys remember when they did the reveal of Shadowhawk. It was like the foldable thing that you could lift up the actual.
I thought it was cheesy. Invincible did it like issue 41 or something. It was all new Invincible. It's like the same Invincible. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Okay, I'll tell you something that no one knows. On the vote page with where you can tap on either Nathan or Marshall, and it overlays with Radiant Black, like when you're for your choice moment. Michael implemented that from assets that we have that we've always intended to do as acetate overlay covers, and we just haven't been able to do it because the turnaround time is like many weeks ahead of schedule. And we just haven't been able to, but there you go. So that would be the other way to do it is as an acetate overlay.
But only if we could get one of those like greeting card sound chips that goes bam, 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 bam when you open it. That would be what I would have to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Michael, are you worried about Russian interference in this poll? Do you have safeguards in place in case that happens?
I'm going to answer the question very genuinely. I built a lot of stuff in to make sure that people couldn't hack the thing, destroy the database. And I did not want to get to 2 weeks from now and be like, well, someone deleted all the votes. So, No, I am not. Listen, if the Russian government came for us, I think that they could probably beat Michael's cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity supreme.
But it might take them 10 to 15 times longer than they originally forecast.
Yes, 10 to 15 seconds instead of 1 second.
That's awesome. Actually, one quick thing I was wondering that I thought the first one actually did a really good job of was I feel like the first one you could just go in there without even reading Radiant Black or anything and kind of just pick it up and you get a complete story there. Do you think that's the same with this one? I would say yeah. Like it's kind of got some explanations, but like, do you think it's designed that you can or no?
So it's a great question. It's something that I've actually thought quite a bit about. I think the short answer is yes. Everything you need to know, you can glean from the inside of this book alone. It does ask readers to take a few bigger leaps in terms of filling in the gap or filling in pieces, in their own minds. If they don't know, have read other things. But I also grew up in an era where like a 4-part Spider-Man story wasn't all told in Amazing Spider-Man, like 694 through 98. It was told in like Amazing Spider-Man 694, Web of Spider-Man like 762, like X-Men number like 43, and a New Warriors like fucking one-shot special or something. So I grew up in an era where you were filling in pieces as you went. And I think there is a component of that with this a little bit, just with the state of the status quos of everyone. But I do really quite like this format that we have of like, I mean, look, we've done now 2 48 or 50 page stories that are essentially a year apart from each other, publishing line wise. And like, you can read them back to back and they're like both standalone experiences, but one clearly feels like it takes place after the other one. And that's a fun little bit of connective tissue just across the 2 Supermassives.
Sure.
So yes, that was my roundabout way of probably not actually answering your question.
I do love the idea of somebody only reading Supermassive and going, "Oh, this Marcus guy seems cool." What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. No, I could legitimately see someone like, this is a gorgeous cover. I'm just gonna pick this up. Okay, now I'm gonna go back and dive into these characters.
I do. Now that we can talk about spoilers, it's very funny that we've done 2 of these and Dylan still hasn't had the chance to meet one day he will meet these people.
One day, maybe tease that. Maybe tease that. Weird.
It did make showing early art for this incredibly challenging, because basically every page up until like a week ago, every page was with text was a spoiler.
Sure. Yeah, even that first preview page, like just the date there really shows everything. Like I just read the date, I'm like, oh shit, like this is not where I thought we'd be.
I did appreciate the opportunity that BB got to flirt with a cute lady. That was always
yes. Whose idea was that, or did that just come in? Because it was very well done. We love that dynamic.
I came up in strangely one of the early pieces of it all. There was a version of the story where that was a much bigger piece of it, and then just as like everything else changed, we added bits on it. It just wasn't quite enough room for it. But this idea of like a cross time romance that is fleeting, because like in some way, like kind of metatextually, because Supermassives are these like fleeting self-contained events, this romance was fleeting and self-contained and kind of tragic because of that, was really appealing to us. So yeah, it had like its origins really early on. I can't remember who in the room sort of first pitched it.
I think it initially Kyle did, because Kyle wanted romance. And I really like what it became, though, because I felt, especially for BB, who's in such a dark place at the moment, for her to be able to find a connection with this person, even if it lasts for 5 minutes, shows that she's not completely cut off from the world yet.
Yeah.
And I really liked that for her, to at least have this moment of humanity and this like connection with this person that she doesn't know but understands. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But Matt, when are you gonna reveal more about the future of Inferno Go Red? I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Yeah, Matt. What are you gonna say?
I guess what I'll say is, I'm hoping that like, hey, look, you got a little bit more Inferno Go Red when you weren't expecting it, is enough to tide people over for a little bit longer. Soon, I reckon. Hopefully.
Soon. That's the Massiveverse catchphrase.
Yes.
Soon.
That's right. Yeah.
Soon, hopefully.
On brand.
Soon, hopefully.
But yeah, and then my last question is like, what's, I guess, without too many details, what is the future of the Massiveverse like moving forward? We've got Catalyst War to look forward to. I think in Dead Lucky we got some teases of the name Pyre, right? Pyre returning. And then in Rogue Sun, obviously, we've got Morningstar, and that's been built up for a while, so everyone's really excited for that. So what do we have to look forward to? Just like a quick blurb,
Besides Supermassive 3, because we know that's confirmed already.
Well, and selfishly, I'm gonna say no one, because it's eating up every moment of my life. Yeah. We're all about to start new arcs, basically. And so there's a lot of new status quo that's happening in the immediate future. Catalyst War and No One, for me, are the rest of my year. And they're going to be They're going to be things that we're going to be doing things that are even more ambitious. So we're we're working on those now. I have some thoughts and ideas, broadly beyond that, but nothing we can, really talk about.
We've
just
sent some
yet.
long emails to each other.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, that's good.
I just look, I think Catalyst War is going to be huge. I don't feel like I need to hype that more. The stuff that Ryan and Abel are talking about for this next arc of Rogue Sun is some of my favorite stuff we've done in the book so far. I do not think you're going to see some of it coming. It's real fun. Melissa is taking BB to some weird new places. Like it's a different direction. It's a different space for her. I think it's going to be it's not going to be a good time for her, but I think it'll be a good time for us.
I'm excited for people to spend more time with Pyre as well.
Oh yeah.
Good one.
No one is going to keep being its own insane podcast comic book self. There will be news on More Inferno Go Red soon, hopefully. And
San Diego Comic-Con is going to be very big for us.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a panel down there this year, similar to last year. We don't know what day it is just yet, but if any listeners have plans to go to San Diego this year, you're definitely going to want to come find our panel. We'll, of course, announce it, and I'll put it out through the newsletter and through social and whatnot as soon as we have it from the convention. But we're gonna probably talk about some pretty cool and big stuff there.
And Radiant Pink is coming to a close.
Yeah.
Yep. I just
gorgeous
got the last
gorgeous cover on that volume too. That looks really, really nice.
I just got the last issue the other day, actually, copies of it.
I really love how it ended. I thought it was a great end for that arc and for where Eva needs to be. And I think sets her and Kelly up for very cool things in the future, assuming Kyle wants to keep playing with those toys, which I hope he does.
They just have to make it through an intergalactic war first, and then we'll see what happens,
Then we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot that's about to happen.
Not to hype up Kyle's War more. It's so important that I actually have to check in with Kyle often to find out, to make sure, because we're in the Massiveverse. I got to be like, hey, can I do this? Is this going to be okay? Like, it's a big deal, man. I'm excited for what. I just remember when we were in Lockport and you were driving around showing me where you grew up and you started pitching me the whole thing. And I think about 4 times I was like, can you do that? So it'll be.
It's possible the answer should have been no, but we made it yes, and we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a thing. It's a thing we're doing. So
yeah. But yes, stay tuned. I think we're I don't know exactly what we're announcing at San Diego yet, but some fun stuff. I think it sounds like.
That's awesome. Is there ever a chance you guys come up to Canada, come up to Toronto here? Is there a chance?
I was supposed to do Toronto something
Fan
this
Expo?
year, Fan Expo, yeah, but I don't think it worked out. But yeah, I've done the shows in Toronto before,
Nice.
and then the Circle Guy News guys are in Buffalo, so I make it out to Buffalo once in a while. And
nice.
we go to escape rooms and throw axes and pack.
Do you
QR
throw
code
axes
boxes.
in escape rooms, or is that two different things?
Oh,
I mean, we're trying to bring. Yeah, that's more of an over the Canadian border thing. It's less strict on the axe throwing escape room situation.
Because of all the moose.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And
Gotta
flannel.
be careful. Gotta be careful.
I had until very recently, I have a full-time job that literally just like took over my life quite recently as a writer, and it ends May 31st. So I'm actually very excited about that because that means I can actually try and go to conventions.
Nice.
Beyond ones that are within drivable distance. So.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Unfortunately for Matt and myself, Canada is not in drivable distance. But
fair enough. That's fair.
And I will not be at San Diego this year because my brother's getting married that weekend.
What?
Oh,
I mean, congratulations to your brother.
that's
but
so exciting. Yeah, that's awesome.
did he not know when San Diego Comic Con was? He couldn't schedule around.
He doesn't. He's like, you do what for a living? And I'm like, don't worry about it, man. Just I'll be in your wedding. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fair enough. Yeah. No one. We didn't mention no one or thing. We're just focusing on the Supermassive ones, but totally like no one's been amazing.
It's impressive.
It's impressive. Yeah. I mean, Kyle's managing to capture a lot of people's like thinking space. Like people are used to writing essays about like Marshall or Nathan, or they're writing like info dumps about like no one. It's crazy.
How much fun was that to actually like make the podcast? Like we see you on the roofs, like with the recorder. Like, what was that like for you?
Well, that part of it is I did way less of that than you might think from photos of me on a roof with a recorder. That happened all of once. No, sorry, what was the question? How much of it?
Just like what was that like making a podcast? Like what was
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I can keep this short. This really kind of, in a lot of ways, dates back to Melissa, because when we were doing Power Rangers together, at some point, it was when we were doing the video game. So that was like the last thing I did with the brand is I wrote the Battle for the Grid game for Enway and Hasbro, and Melissa was at Hasbro then. And then the producer on the Lionsgate side, because the project actually was in conjunction with Lionsgate because of the new movie. I think that's where the budget came from, sort of thing. Is a friend of ours named Amanda Cruz, and I have this background as a sound editor. Before I was writing, I went to film school, but I had a background before I got into film school in sound editing that I taught myself when I was at the University of Iowa and doing short films and stuff and doing all the sound for it. And so then at Chapman, that was kind of like an emphasis that I still curated, and I did it on all my own films, but I was doing like full 5:1 mixes and like discrete channel stuff in the theaters. And so then after film school, as I was finishing my own movie, I ended up getting a job because of that background at a place called Sound Deluxe, which is a big post-production sound facility in LA. They did the majority of movies, basically. And I was working for the Hollywood Edge division, but then I was also cutting on some films like on the side for one of the owners. And so like I was kind of on this path as a sound editor, but it's like not what I wanted to do. Cool. And so I actually started writing comics like during that time, and then was able to leave because of the New 52. I quit my sound editing job and then started writing comics full time. So Amanda knew some of this, and I ended up doing, a lot of the voice directing on the video game as well. And so Amanda started yelling at me. She's like, "You really should do like a narrative podcast." And I was like, that sounds awful. I don't want to. Why would I? That sounds like so much work. And then after doing the game, and then during the pandemic, I think I can say this. I sold a show to Spotify that didn't end up going forward, but it was a DC related show. And writing the pilot for that was so much fun. And I knew exactly what to do kind of in the space. And so those experiences together made it so that when I had the concept for how to do No One in this kind of like Massiveverse 21st century way, it was like, oh yeah, not only does that work for the concept, but I actually believe I have the background kind of knowledge and background to actually be able to pull this off. So I do a little cutting on it. Alec does most of the cutting, but I direct it all. So like we did 2 or 3 days of recording in January, February for the first 6 episodes. And we have 2 more days of recording coming up later this summer here for the remaining episodes. That certainly they tie into the issues very tightly. So there's quite a bit of coordination there that you have to do up front. And then Matt has done work on the project as well. And yeah, it's a lot to wrangle. That's what I would say.
Because it's all actually very surprising to me. I thought it was all real.
I mean, it's my reality.
Kyle likes to make things so much more difficult for himself.
Yeah,
he needs it to be, but like it makes it so much better for the rest of us. But it is always fun to witness when he's just like, "Hey, you know what would be cool?" And I'm like, "Oh shit."
It's so good. I have to listen to it not on speakers because it is like so real that I probably freak my partner out with it. So especially when the voice modulator and everything. No, it's incredible stuff. Like in a lot of different ways too. Not only from the production end, but also you pacing the script and everything, working with all the people that you're working with.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Well, I mean, I love directing. Like that's like my first love. So like I still haven't done a feature yet, but I was supposed to do one this year and it didn't end up, or maybe it was last year at this point. It all blurs together. And it didn't end up working out for where I was at in my career. But all of that is why I love doing this. Like, it's kind of the same thing. It's like putting together different talented people, all working towards a common goal and kind of building stuff together. And so it's definitely an ambitious project that we are doing. I mean, I don't know if you saw, we're doing some CG stuff as well. Yes. Viral videos.
You mean actual live recordings of the real world?
Mm-hmm. Of course. Yeah, no, that was super
incredible.
Cool,
no, it's been amazing. It's been tough like reviewing No One because obviously we love every single issue, but there's so much that happens. Like I feel like everything we have like we're like
that's why they have the big board. They have a board segment.
That helps.
I do appreciate one thing. I really want to praise everyone for doing on the No One end is you guys putting the pictures and the names at the end of every book. That really helps a lot. So I personally really appreciate that. I think it really helps with trying to figure out the puzzle end and everything. But I think that's a good place. I know you guys are super busy and we talked a lot of Massiveverse tonight. I just want to say I know some recent announcements. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I know Melissa's got a story. Is it in Xeno from Oni Press coming out soon?
Yeah. It's I really I'm excited about it. It's not a superhero story. It's meant to be more like a Twilight Zone inspired kind of short, and the colors and the art are all incredible, and I'm really excited for it. Very cool.
Yeah, I just pre-ordered it. It looks great. I can't wait. And then I know Ryan just announced today that he's doing a Harley Quinn story in one of the issues, so that's incredible. Pre-ordering that as well, so that's awesome stuff. So congratulations, you guys seen them not only in the Massiveverse but everywhere in comics now, so pick up some of the work they're doing.
And we also get them back for Power Rangers.
Of course, right? Power Rangers. I just started reading them, by the way. I started with Kyle's run, and I'm moving into the Ryan stuff, and I'm gonna get through it all, and it's been super good so far.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then Matt, do you have anything coming up as well?
Yes.
You want to share? Would you like to share?
Listen, I wish I could.
Okay.
There.
Well, the Ultraman miniseries has been announced. That we're doing it. So Ultraman Marvel Universe is coming up that Matt's writing.
The big crossover, yeah. Mm-hmm. And maybe there are a few other small marvelous things coming soon in the future.
Soon, hopefully, right?
Soon, hopefully. Soon, hopefully. It's my catchphrase.
Soon.
Having said all of that, I still think that the best thing I have ever written and never will write is the name of the greengrocer in the Supermassive. So it is kind of all downhill for me.
The what?
The name of the greengrocer in the Supermassive.
The greengrocer?
The supermarket that they go into. Is that
you know the arch nemesis of Spider-Man, the greengrocer?
That was awesome. Yeah, no, that was cool.
We can also tell. Wait, ice cream? No, that's not it. What is it?
The thing is that sometimes Matt will have an insane idea, and I will just do it rather than bothering everybody else.
Was it your idea about the ice cream cooler?
Here's the problem, Matt. It's covered up by.
Yeah, I can't read it. I'm looking at it.
You have to sort of put it together with that, and then it appears again at the end. And you have just
is it Keg of Tomorrow?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's veg of tomorrow, and their tagline is buy, save, repeat. Thank you.
Bravo.
Oh man.
Bravo.
He did the diner in the other one, so these Supermassive titles, like you just nailed the names of buildings. So it was like a really good one too. Like
That's how I earn my
Well,
code.
by the way, Wellness Wallace, that's a Matt Groom special.
That's awesome.
Okay, we have to explain Wellness Wallace before we
Yes,
I know we're
please,
trying to
yes.
end.
Thank you.
Matt, you do have to
Please.
close this by explaining Wellness Wallace to them.
Okay. Well, yeah, we were working on the fear sequence, and we had like discussed that obviously a big fear of Nathan's would be his career slipping away from him, and we'd also discussed the idea that their fears, because the room is reading them as one hero, is getting their fears intermingled, which meant that Marshall would have to have a fear as well. And Marshall being who he is, we thought that a mascot that was like a real straight edge representative who also has a kind of horrific visage would be a hilarious fear for him. And because there's a lot of like serious stuff going on in that scene, there's a way to counterbalance that a little bit. And he's inspired by a character in Australia called Healthy Harold, which was like a puppet giraffe that would travel around in a van and teach you that drugs are bad. And every school child in Australia has encountered this fucking puppet giraffe.
I'm going to YouTube right after this. You know I am.
And like it's just it was one of those things where we didn't give a lot of direction to Daniele for Wellness Wallace. I think we said, oh, he's kind of like a puppet elephant, but you know, through that weird puppet lens. And then yeah, we got what we got, and an icon was born.
Mm-hmm.
And just to show you the level of complexity, I got a G chat and they go, "Hey, what's Caleb's
That's great.
And I went, "Drowning," and that was it.
I don't think they even asked me. They just knew immediately what it would be.
Yeah, that's that Wellness Wallace is up there with some of the scariest Rogue Sun villains. I'll say that. Like, that's how terrifying that was. But
I have to admit, I do now retroactively wish we ended this with Wellness Wallace will return. That's not a promise we have any intention of following through on, but I do wish we'd put it in there.
I mean, you never know,
Supermassive
black
24.
holes. Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
But yeah, no, thanks guys. And then next week, of course, you got Ordinary Gods 12. So Kyle's closing that up. I think that's the last issue.
Yep.
You got Radiant Pink 5, right?
Yep.
And then there was one more. What was it? Supermassive. Sorry, Supermassive 2023. Yeah. Yeah, I got so many copies now. Oh my god! So yeah, we'll give away some copies of Supermassive 2023. We'll do a giveaway and everything. So if you're listening, check that out. That's some sort of link and everything.
Awesome.
Check out Supermassive, yeah, and because it's gonna be it's great. We've already read it. It's great. I can confirm.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Make sure you check out everything all the amazing creators are doing here. They're pushing the envelope for what you could do in comic books. Seriously, amazing, innovative stuff. Everyone's talking about how immersive No One is. Everyone's talking how incredible these books are, down from representation to art to writing to every facet. So please check it out, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Stay radiant.